Are you ready to break down the walls and experience a freedom unlike anything before? My goal is to impact your life to let you know you are not alone by covering areas that most won't touch due to shame, guilt, fear, and condemnation. I will give you strength, courage, and actionable items that you can implement into your daily life to help find freedom and have unashamed faith. Welcome to Unashamed Faith.
Hey, you guys. Welcome back to another episode of Unashamed Faith. It's Nick here with you, and I am excited to be back and recording. It's actually been a little bit, so you guys may not know that because these episodes came out kind of back to back and came out recently, but so much has happened lately. So much in life. And so I am finally, I told you guys I'd be real, raw, and honest and authentic on here. I'm finally getting the gusto. I'm finally getting the strength to record again, to be completely honest with you guys. If you've been here since the beginning, thank you. You know that I recorded back in October that episode, and that was on the anniversary of my dad's death. And it's been a whirlwind because in between that, then just a few days later, I was in the hospital, and then battling the hospital, battling the healing, going through being hooked up to medications, to IVs, to doctors going, it is what it is. This is something, next time you come in, literally, it's next time you come in, just say you have DEET, and they'll know just how to treat you right away. And I'm like, the fact that just kind of third time in 3 years, and that's what becomes your life. So in all honesty, it really shifted my life. I had recorded an episode in the hospital. I'd recorded a little bit then, like an episode, I think 2 episodes afterwards, and put them out for you guys. But it has been, I don't know, I want to say like at least 5 or 6 weeks since I've recorded, to be completely honest with you. And one of those things is I've been battling a lot. And so that's what really drew today's topic, which we'll get into. But there has been such a mental and physical battle that has gone on in life that sometimes it's so hard to pinpoint specifically what it is. It's hard to say, this is where I'm at. Sometimes it's hard to just tell people how I'm doing right now. And as I was journaling today and really reflecting, I realized that something really happened to me in the hospital. And being 100% honest with you, I don't actually know what happened yet. I am still trying to understand, but what I can say is that I changed. I changed as a person. I changed. My relationship with God changed. How I'm just handling and functioning in life right now has changed. And that has been honestly terrifying. And it's been exhausting. It's been overwhelming. I probably cry every day, which is kind of funny. I'm like, it's the norm for me. Oh, I cried again today. Oh, this morning. Yep. Oh, when we were doing this, there were tears. And it's kind of funny. I laugh at it now, even though, again, cried today. But I am not the woman that I was 2 months ago. I'm not the woman that I was 3 months ago. And I'm definitely not the woman that I was 6 months ago. And even last night, and I've learned that over the last couple of weeks very specifically, is I was in a program. Some of you that do know, that are here in my life, have been a part of this amazing apprenticeship program with our church, and it's really meant to awaken visionaries and marketplace leaders and wealth creators of the kingdom. And I love it because I had found something that sparked my soul both on the faith side and on the business side, and said, oh my gosh, I get to take my two loves and put them together. How do I do this? How do I be better at it? How do I combine this? How? Like how? Like how do I learn? How do I grow? How do I be? All of these things. And so it's so exciting to actually share with you guys that I graduated last night from our program, got my trophy as presenter, which I feel like it's kind of funny because obviously I love to talk and I have no problem speaking clearly, having a show. But that was just such a great moment. But with that, as our class, you know, we were constantly together every week. We're learning, we're growing, we're overcoming things, we're battling things with our classmates. And so we got to really sit down and hear the thoughts of other people, you know, that are in there and watching you go through life and watching things happen to you that sometimes you don't see because you're so in it, right? It's like, I love, this has been such a great comparison that one of our pastors used, is that, you know, when you're in the boxing ring, when you're in the cage, when you're in the middle of the fight, you can't always see if the left hook is coming, right hook is coming, right elbow, left kick, knee. You don't always see that. And so to have a coach or someone outside on those guidelines to let you know kind of what's happening, what's either coming at you, or even like how you did afterwards, because you don't know what's going on in the moment sometimes. And that has been exactly my life, that I'm here, but I don't fully know always what's going on. I don't see what's happening, because in my eyes, I see regression, I see depression, I see dark, I see negative, I see clouds, I see weight. But what I found out, what other people see and have noticed over the last few months very specifically, but even over this last 6 months in this class, is inspiration, motivation, breaking off of a rock, just dark chips that have been on me, really pressing in. They've seen strength of just not being afraid to really go, okay, God, this is what you have for me. This is what you're supposed to be doing. I'm going to go for it instead of running and still putting on a mask and being the old Nick that just said it was fine and didn't want to heal because I didn't want to face the ugliness of the years, the things that had gone on. I just would mask it with alcohol, with drugs, with sex, with dating, with people that were negative in my life. And so this has really been one of the first times that I've really stepped in and honored what that is. And so to hear the amazing things of, you know, when you sit down next to somebody and they're like, who are you? You're not the person that walked in 6 months ago. And in all reality, I take it as a compliment, because it means that I've actually done my job of being an obedient daughter to my father. And I've pressed in and I've decided to change, because who I wasn't working, obviously. And so I was great. I'm still great. But like, and that's just the sassy part. But in all reality, I had so much more to learn, to grow, to do, to be. And so that's really what a lot of this 6 months has been about. And with that, though, is that today, as I've been really journaling, and today's been a really hard day, and I think that just brings even more significance to needing to record and to needing to speak to you, because no matter what, I've walked a walk similar to this before, and that walk is called depression. That walk is called suicidal. That walk is called bipolar. It looks like self-mutilation. It looks like suicide attempts. And as I was reflecting today and journaling, and this isn't the first time that this has come up, but it's something that just really was on my heart of just needing to be talked about, is that walking through it with Christ is so different than not. And I don't know if it makes it easier. I'd like to think so, because I'm still here. I'm still standing. I'm still able to know that my God has got me. And so one of the things, I guess, I wrote down, you guys, I wrote down a whole layout of how this is going to go, and we're kind of still following it, but my brain is all over. And I think one of the things I really wanted to share with you guys, because a lot of this is about my journey. And so to be honest, and to talk about those things, depression was a huge part of my life growing up as a kid. It felt like it defined who I was, that I now became a student, a kid, a friend, a child that had depression, that had bipolar. And it really started actually when I had found out that a friend was having issues. And so hearing and learning about that, I said, wow, a lot of that sounds familiar. A lot of that sounds like something, things that I'm kind of going through or maybe going through. And one of the starts to a lot of it was self-mutilation. So even to this day, I still have scars on my body from self-mutilation. And for me, a lot of that was, it was razors, it was pins, anything that I could do and use to have some sort of physical pain, because the emotional pain and facing whatever was happening inside just was so unbearable. So I felt if I could have a physical pain, like just the cuts, the bleeds, the burning of this kid, just anything. I mean, I would take a razor and I would just rub, like the razor that you shave your legs with, I would rub it on my wrists. I would rub it down by my ankles. I would rub it in places just so my skin could burn and bleed, so I had something else to focus on other than the emotional and mental pain that was happening. And it also led to tattoos, which became another form. And to this day, you guys, I actually have, in order to cover up, I mean, the scars really went away from some of that on my wrists, but I was in such a place that even as a teenager, not fully battling this, but finally off medication, I would get tattoos. So you guys, on my wrists, I have love and strength both tattooed. And the first one I got was love. And it was on my left wrist because I would constantly cut that one being right-handed. And so I wanted to go place something there that every time I looked down, for one, I could remember to love myself, but for two, to put that love over such pain and such hurt of what I had gone through in my life. And so one of the craziest things, though, or it's not even crazy, but one of the things to just share and to say is that, and I've been fully forgiven by God. I have forgiven myself for the mutilation, for trying to hurt me, for trying to harm me. I've been forgiven for even the tattoos that I've gotten that have been a part of that have been a piece to saying, this is what it's actually used for, where it's like, well, this is a prettier version, right? A quote unquote, now that I started at 16, but at 18, it's a legal version of doing artistic creativity on your body, tattooing, and I love tattoos. So now I mean, I have some that just truly mean something to me that have nothing to do with that part of my life, but some were. And so I very recently, actually through the program, and through our apprenticeship, actually did deliverance. And one of the topics that we did touch on was my tattoos specifically that were related to self-harm and to things that were of a sinful nature. And so that part of it, and which is the other reason that I can fully share it and that I love to share that. I'm okay with it because I know, I know where I came from. I know what has happened. And I know that God has completely forgiven me of it. And I carry no shame. I carry no guilt. I carry no condemnation with it because it's who I am. And it's also allowed me to get here and to have this conversation with you and to be able to, hopefully just help and pour in and just own what I've gone through to get here. So, that was one outlet that I used. Another, way of things for me, I was a rebel child on top of it. I just didn't know, so I would lash out. There was so much anger that was in there inside of me from not releasing that, where you guys, when my depression was literally living inside of going, I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. I'm not loved. I'm not heard. I'm not seen. There is no purpose for me here, is really how I felt. I felt truly that I had no purpose on this earth and no reason, right, to be around for any, it just didn't make sense to me. And I thought like, well, this is just, I guess this is life. And unfortunately, it led to suicide attempts. It led to overdosing on different medications. It led to continuing of slitting of wrists. And, thank goodness that I have an amazing, amazing family, and amazing parents, a mother that was so strong, to sit there and to watch her daughter, help to wake up and to have to drink charcoal and to have to visit her in the hospital, because then it goes into, well, we can't obviously just have her go back home right now. So after the hospital, it's going straight to, an institution of being in there and going through therapy, talking to people, which quite frankly did not seem to do diddly squat, if we're being completely honest here. I remember I'd been to the same place like 2 or 3 times, and it's amazing. All these memories pop up, as I talk about this, but going back to the same place, I remember I met this one girl and we had friends. Her friends literally snuck us cigarettes. You guys, I'm like 15 years old. This is terrible. I should not even be sharing this. I'm just realizing, my goodness, what a bad child I was. But in the incident where it's like, we literally snuck cigarettes in, and then we would go outside because we would get like our outside time. And we straight up would go smoke cigarettes like out in the garden and like hide it from, I don't know how we did not get caught, you guys. Like, so this is not always like, yes, my topics will be serious, but realistically, I'm going to start laughing at myself probably in every episode as I've realized some of the things that I've done or do as I share my past with you guys. Please don't take my advice. Please don't go do this. But clearly it just goes to show that I am definitely a rebel and did not care. But at the same time, it's so funny because I hate breaking rules, but at the same time, I love it and not getting caught, right? I don't know what that says about me. I'm not really sure what that means, but I do know that my number one strength is activator, and a lot of activators will ask for forgiveness instead of asking for permission, which I know I tend to do that. So I laugh when I read that. But so going in and just being in the hospitals and processing through that, it was just such a big piece of it. I mean, I met all different kinds of people, and in all honesty, I really think that it's I understand the basis of community. I really believe that community is so huge, and we'll talk on that as something, that I have now in my life as well. But the type of community that's facilitated when you're in that position and where I was as a kid, I really look at it and go, one of the worst parts is that you're taking a lot of kids, younger adults. I mean, we were all under the age of 17 at that point, and all they're looking for is a companion. They're looking for community. They're looking for that. And so what these institutions are doing are that, at least when I was there, I don't know what it's like anymore, but I can't imagine that it's far off, is that you are putting like-minded children with other people that are creative, that have also tried to kill themselves, that they're all still looking for an out. Now we're all just on medication. And instead, we actually gave ideas to each other, you guys. Like, we were literally talking about, how do we sneak things? How do we continue to cut ourselves? How do we continue to live the way that we were once we get out of this place for right now, right? So to me, I look at that and I'm like, so we're not fixing and solving a problem here. We're just actually creating something even worse. You can take away the shoestrings. You can take away the needle. Like, you can take away that stuff for the time being. But if all you're doing is observing and medicating for a little bit and then forcing into just bullshit therapy, it doesn't fix anything. It really doesn't. And so, honestly, as long as I can remember, I've battled. It was probably started at 11, 12 years old, 12, 13 years old. Realistically, I think the first time I tried to commit suicide was 14, 15 years old. I look at that now and I look at students that are that age and I'm like, you don't even know how to tie your shoelaces yet, let alone take your life away. It's just, it's scary and it's sad and it's terrifying to think that that's even a battle that we have to deal with. And so one of the things where I'm like, I look at that and go, there is no way that someone that young would know and how to pick this up and how does this happen. And so with that and with my journey that I've been on as an adult and really understanding what this looks like. So I was obviously on medication growing up, and I got to the point when I was about 18, 19 years old that I no longer wanted to be on medication. I didn't want to be on it because I didn't like how it made me feel. I didn't like the BS that came with it. I didn't like constantly trying to switch because nothing ever seemed to work. I didn't like going to doctors and talking to somebody that really just didn't care, that was only going to give me the same prescription again. I thought it was stupid. And then I also wanted to look at my future and go, I want to be a mother. I want to be a wife. I want to be somebody that has strength, that has courage, that can do this. That what happens if I have to go off medication when I get pregnant? Well, now I live in this fear of going, well, if I'm just kind of numb and mediocre right now, well, what's going to happen then? Am I going to basically ruin my marriage? Am I going to ruin my life for my kids? Am I going to ruin something? So these are thoughts that started to go through my head, you guys, at 18, 19, 20 years old. And so I just straight up went cold turkey, and said, that's it. I have to figure it out, right? Now, it does not mean that the battle has not still been there. So the things of where stuff has crept in, but one of the things that I learned is that we're really looking and talking about generational curses, and that there is something that is actually so much powerful than just a chemical imbalance, that I truly believe that there are mental illnesses, that there are mental health issues that really fall under demonic spirits, that fall under demonic oppression, that have so much more to do with just a chemical imbalance. I've been off of medication for many, 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 many years now. And in all honesty, I've been really good. Have I had moments? Of course. But I think every human has had moments similar to me, because they're not manic. They're not anything outrageous, but they're same thoughts that I had as a child that were, you know what? Sometimes I don't feel worthy. Sometimes I don't feel like I'm worthy of love. I'm worthy of friendship. I'm worthy of money. those thoughts do still happen in my life as an adult, but I don't look at it as depression. I still think that I don't always bring value. I struggle with that. That's a mindset thing. That's not well, she's depressed. Or there's days where right now in this season that I'm in, my energy levels are low. My drive is not here right now. I don't have a drive to get up and work every day. I don't have a drive to build a business right now. I mean, I've built so many, and I've built other businesses, and I've consulted, and I've ran $1 million businesses, and I've done so much over the last few years that I'm just tired. I'm tired. And so this is a new season of rest. And what scared me briefly, and what has popped up even today, was going, but is this depression? Is this something that is bigger than me? But then what I realized is that, well, for one, because as I'm saying it right now, I'm like, it does not matter, because depression will never be bigger than me, because my God is bigger than anything. My God is bigger than depression. My God is bigger than anxiety. He is bigger than any enemy, any devil, any spirit that can attack. And that is where that difference comes in now. And as we started, this journey has been such a rough journey this season, these last couple months, that I haven't been able to be here. And, people walk up to me even at team meeting today, and it's just like, hey, like, I can tell something's up. I know we haven't talked much, or hey, you're really vague with your answers to me and what's going on. And in all reality, like that, like, I'm giving what I have. I can only show up some days at 25%. That is all that I've got. And so instead of going, this is all that I have, I'm going, that's all that I got. And that's what you're going to get. And so God is going to have to help me fill in the rest at this point. And some days he can help get me to 100%. He had to do it last night. But then there's days like today where I'm like, okay, if we're not able to get there, then what does that mean? What does that look like? And instead of going into a victim mentality, and instead of going into a place of like, poor me, I mean, I've been journaling page after page after page after page, asking questions, soaking in, and just going, then I'm going to figure out how I can be here, right? How can I be with God? How can I maybe hear him? Because quite frankly, I feel distant. I feel far away from God right now. I feel like I'm not hearing him as much. And so I wanted to let you guys know that that's okay. If you're in the same spot and maybe you don't know God and you feel distant from even yourself or whoever, like, it's okay. But I wanted to share things as I go through this season with you, and as I go through life, that there's the journey that is my past that has blessed me and allowed me to get here, as ugly and as hard as it has been, but it's also allowed me to be able to walk through it now with another kind of strength and own it and not resort back to the old habits. So another plus, I mean, I've been, oh my gosh, you guys, it's been over 2 months that I'm alcohol free, which is also amazing. I think I've like lost track now. So even just that, going in this and not resorting to old habits, not resorting to bad situations and bad ideas, and just truly pressing into God. And so something else that triggered this morning, and this is how you know that God obviously and very much is around, is that he works through people. So I love God, but sometimes I'm like, God, this is our private business, but he doesn't care. Because if he knows that sometimes you can't lift yourself up, or that, I mean, flat out, we're not enough. We're not enough. You are not meant to do it on your own. You're not meant to be by yourself. And so sometimes that's a hard fact to face. But I woke up this morning And I was just, reading my Bible, going through my own stuff, and one of my girlfriends sent me a text saying, I felt prompted to send this to you this morning. I pray that it brings revelation and confirmation. And I'm going to read this to you because, you guys, every single time I try to bring a Bible verse, because God's word is the truth. It is the living truth. It is our word to stand on. It is our food. It is our fuel. It is everything to us. It is the way to make it in this life. His word, before we were formed in our mother's womb, he was planning us. He knew us. He knew the things that we would go through, and he knew what we needed when we needed it. And I know that even me not fully hearing from him myself personally all the time the way that I have before, I know that he's still working. I know that he's still here. And I know there's a purpose. It doesn't mean that I fully understand it and that I can grasp it and that I'm okay with it. But I know that whatever this is that I'm going through right now, that there is a purpose. And it excites me to be able to share it on the other side when we get there, because there will be another side. There will be blessing upon blessing upon blessing upon blessing for being in this season, for learning, for growing, for understanding, for being taught humility and honor and patience and being still and resting and trusting him. And so today I want to share, because honestly, I wrote my girlfriend back and I'm like, my life, this is my life, from what has literally happened in the past few months, especially from the hospital, as you guys know, and being healed from that. So this is Psalms 30, chapter 30, verse 1 through 12. I remember boasting, I've got it made. Nothing can stop me now. I'm God's favored one. He's made me steady as a mountain. But then suddenly, you hid your face from me. I was panic-stricken and became depressed. Lord, I will exalt you and lift you high, for you have lifted me up on high. Over all my boasting, gloating enemies, you made me to triumph. O Lord, my healing God, I cried out for a miracle, and you healed me. You brought me back from the brink of death, from the depths below. Now here I am, alive and well, fully restored. O sing and make melody, you steadfast lovers of God. Give thanks to him every time you reflect on his holiness. I've learned that his anger lasts only for a moment, but his loving favor lasts a lifetime. We may weep through the night, but at daybreak, it will turn into shouts of ecstatic joy. Still, I cried out to you, Lord God. I shouted out for mercy, saying, what would you gain in my death if I were to go down to the depths of darkness? Will a grave sing your song? How could death's dust declare your faithfulness? So hear me now, Lord. Show me your famous mercy. O God, be my Savior and rescue me. Then he broke through and transformed all of my wailing into a whirling dance of ecstatic praise. He has torn the veil and lifted from me the sad heaviness of mourning. He wrapped me in the glory garments of gladness. How could I be silent when it's time to praise you? Now my heart sings out loud, bursting with joy, a bliss inside that keeps me singing, I can never thank you enough. I read this and read this and read this, and then I reread it, and then I reread it, and then I reread it, and over again. And I read my life of what's happening right now. And to be completely and fully transparent with you guys, I am literally like, how could I declare his faithfulness? Hear me. I am crying out for him to rescue me right now. And so I'm at that point of going, I'm waiting to say the line of, then he broke through and transformed all of my wailing into a whirling dance of ecstatic praise. But what I love about this is that even though I am in that valley, because in order to go from mountaintop to mountaintop, right? Even to go from anywhere. You've got to go back down the mountain. You've got to be on that valley part in order to climb back up to get to the next mountain, right? And so that's where the learning, that's where the growing, that's where the faith, that's where the trust comes from. It doesn't come from being on the mountain. It comes from your darkest of dark nights and days. It comes from the deep underdepth of having a peace without understanding, of trusting our God fully. And so right now, I mean, I feel dark. I feel buried. I feel so deep in something that is so unknown right now. I'm in the most unknown place that I have ever been. And it is absolutely terrifying. But to be able to know that His word is forthtelling, it means it's coming. To know that reading this over and over and over again, then to go, okay, fine, perfect. Your promise is that you will break through and transform all of my wailing into a whirling dance of ecstatic praise. That you will lift that veil from me, that sad and heaviness of this mourning that I am in, and you will wrap me in glory garments of gladness. And from there, I will praise your name, bursting with joy and a bliss that keeps me singing. Like, that to me, it gives me, I can feel the shift in me sharing and talking about this, that it makes such a difference in life to stand on God's word and to know what that looks like. And so one of the things that I've always said is that I want to make sure that you guys have actionable items, that you have things that no matter what, I honestly, at this point, I don't care if you're a believer or not. I go to Psalms 30 and read verse 1 through 12. It does not matter if I just, honest to God, at that point, if you are at a place that you need something, that if you know that you're missing something, that even when you're in the valley, but to have the little sliver of what I've got to go, I know no matter what, I will be just fine because I have this word to stand on, then please, please, please go to your Bible. This is the Passion Translation version of it. You can download YouVersion. You can go to a store. I mean, you can look it up online. You can Google it, but it's Psalms 30, verse 1 through 12. And I just read it over and over again. That's what I've done today. And it's putting a peace in my heart. It's putting a calming in my heart. It's coming. And that gives me the strength to know that I can keep pressing in and I can keep walking through this, because no matter what, I will be good in the end. I will be just fine on the other side. So with that, other things, prayer time. For me, pray. I'm not always able to pray for myself, especially right now. I mean, again, I don't always have the strength. I write it, but I lean on my girls. So find your people. That also comes in, having your community. You have to be able to communicate with people. You have to share. You don't have to share everything if that's not where you're at and what you can do. But you need to open up. You can't just isolate. You can't run away from the world, because the enemy will latch onto that, and the enemy will hold on to those pieces and just pull it in and really utilize that against you. And so our goal is freedom. Our goal is to find this. Our goal is to let you know that you're not alone and that it will be okay. And I swear, but this is where you have to pull that inner strength. And sometimes I know it's not a lot, but even owning the 10%, the 5%, the 25%, whatever it is, own it so strong and so hard, and say it out loud that this is what I have today. This is what I can give. And with that, then I'm going to give the best 25% that I've ever given. And own it. Don't be ashamed of it. Don't be sad about it, but own it into the deepest depths of your soul. So own it. Prayer. If prayer looks like meditation to you, meditate. Be there. Be in the moment. Be present. I understand initially your laundry list is going to come, your grocery list, your work list, your to-do list, your every list is going to come forth, right? Because the enemy's going to want to distract you in every single way. But keep pushing. Just push past that barrier over the 5 minutes, the 10 minutes. and allow it to happen. Your health, your mental health, your physical health, your emotional health has to come first. Everything else can wait. The other pressure, who cares what other people, where they're at, whatever pressure is going on, it does not matter. You have to come first. Your sanity, your health, your mental state has to come first. You have to take care of yourself. And reflection, you guys, reflect on everything. For me, journaling is huge. It's huge. I used to not always be a journaler. I used to hate people that would journal, but I honestly have found that at least it's getting it out of my head, because especially if I can't speak it sometimes, writing it, even the questions, you guys, I write that I'm angry at God. Like, I am fully honest and transparent with him and what I'm saying and writing and doing, because that's the only way to truly fully heal. So with that reflection comes facing it, press in, even if it hurts. Let the tears flow. Let God, let the Holy Spirit, let yourself be open to revealing where some of the roots are of what could be going on and causing some of the hurt, the sadness, the pain that's happening. And then last but not least is please know that it's just a season. I know it doesn't feel like that sometimes and when you're in it, but know that even when you're in the thick of it, the battle has already been won. God already sent his son to die on the cross. Your battle has been won. We just have to walk it out here on earth, because there's a purpose, there's a mission behind it. So just know that this is just a period of time. So learn in the waiting, listen in the waiting, be courageous in the waiting, and keep pressing in. Get up every day and know that maybe today your breakthrough is here, but live as every day as if your breakthrough is coming, that it's here, that it's going to happen. Honor it and still love this day and still love who you are. So that is what I have for you guys today. I absolutely from the bottom of my heart, I love you guys. I love you so much for being here, for listening, for loving yourself, for honoring who you are and where you're at. I encourage you guys, feel free to reach out to me at any time. You guys can shoot me a message on Instagram at @Iam_NickMarie. Let me know, and it's NIK_Marie. Let me know what's going on. Let me know how I can help. If you guys have a local church, I highly recommend it. If you don't, you can pop online to our services. We always do live services, but you can scroll back on our Facebook pages, C3 San Diego. You can go find C3 San Diego, our audio. You can go listen to our messages. You can listen to any of that. You can reach out to me. But I highly encourage you guys, and if you are not a follower of Christ, I still encourage you to reach out. I still encourage you to listen. I still encourage you to take steps like this, maybe alter them for what you can and where you're at right now in life. But just know that you can do it, and that I can only be here because I've walked through it. I'm still walking through. It's just a new journey right now, a new season, a new battle, a new thing to overcome that I get to write in my book of my overcoming list, which is very fun. God had me do that project recently. And just know that you are loved. You are loved. And I know sometimes it doesn't feel like it, but just know that you are. And so I appreciate you. I love you. Thank you. And I cannot wait to see you guys on another episode of Unashamed Faith.